so my mentor can observe it and critique me. And because I've had some more experience than most of the interns, I'm gonna have a little less videoing. So I think this is the only one where she'll be here. But she won't video you guys, she's just gonna be watching me. Okay? Okay,
We will be collateral damage.
so you can turn it on now, Tracy.
Okay,
Did you turn it on?
Yeah.
Oh, did you turn it on a while ago?
just when you started.
Oh, okay. That wasn't, we didn't need all that. Okay, so I obviously want to start out and say thank you so much for taking this class. I love leading it, and it's the most fun I've ever had as a teacher. I was a high school English teacher forever in St. Paul, and then I became a career counselor working for Employment Action Center with dislocated workers. So people who were laid off through no fault of their own received a counselor, and I was one of those. That was really fun too. Then when I retired, I decided I wanted to do something different, and this is one of the things I ended up doing. This is the 7th time I've taught this class. I've taught it here at Ollie a few times, and at First Universalist Unitarian Church at 34th and DuPont in Minneapolis. And I'm just about to teach it somewhere else. Those are the only 2 places I have at this point. And it's been just wonderful at Ollie. Every class I've had has been fantastic. So I'm really excited about it. So just a little history. When I was retiring from my career counseling job, I came across a book called Falling Upward, A Spirituality for, and you'll get all these names later. I don't need to write down book names. I'll give you a list of them at the end. I mentioned a lot of books. Falling Upward, Spirituality for the Two Halves of Life by Richard Rohr. And I was just crazy about the book. And I thought, I've got to teach this. So I started out teaching a class called Spirituality in the Second Half of Life, using that book and a book by James Hollis. So the way Rohr starts his book is with an invitation, and I'm going to read you the invitation. He says, his invitation says, "A journey into the second half of our own lives awaits us all. Not everybody goes there, even though all of us get older, and some of us get older than others. A further journey is a well-kept secret for some reason. Many people do not even know there is one. There are too few who are aware of it, tell about it, or know that it is different from the journey of the first half of life." So I'm about to retire, and I read these words, and I think, wow. I was hoping that after retirement my life would be different, but I didn't realize that there was like a book out there that would talk about that. And he's not talking just about retirement, but that was the transition I was making. So that book was published in 2011, and I discovered it in 2012. And then I also discovered that besides that book, there was a whole movement going on called the Conscious Aging Movement. So I was even more thrilled to find out about that. In 1992 at the Omega Institute, has anybody been to the Omega Institute? It's a wonderful place in New York. They did a retreat or a series of workshops called From Aging to Saging. And that was the word given to the workshop by someone called Reverend Zalman Schachter Shalome, who is one of the founders of the conscious aging movement. But instead of talking about conscious aging, he talked about saging. And in his book, From Aging to Saging, he talks about what saging means. And we're going to be following a lot of the things he talks about in that book. So I know you're going to want to read that book. It's really a good one. Then in 1987, this was back before that workshop at Omega, he started the Spiritual Eldering Institute in order to help people learn how to consciously age. Today, there's an organization that's come about as an offshoot of that called Saging International, SAGE-ING International. And it's growing as a nonprofit, and it's who is training me as a certified saging leader. I started doing this work before I even knew this organization existed, so I was really excited when I found out about it. So what he does in his book is he talks about not only what it means to grow older consciously, but he talks about how to do it. He actually gives us tools that are wonderful. And I will be using a lot of the materials both from his book and from the Saging International materials. So does anyone have any questions about me or what is you're becoming a part of. And what's really cool is when I taught 4 classes in conscious aging, and then I found out about Saging International and found out that they have something called wisdom circles. And a wisdom circle is a bunch of people that just get together like we are and meet once a month on an ongoing basis. And I had already told the participants in my classes I was going to do that. So the first night when they got together, there are 16 of them from my 4 classes. I said, guess what, you guys? You're a wisdom circle. And they wanted to know, well, how is that going to be different from what I was going to do anyway? And it isn't that it's different, it's that you're now a part of a national movement, and there are people in other states that are doing this work too. So I think you're just going to love it. Now, about what's in the middle. I know you don't normally see this when you come to an ALI class. We're gathering in a circle, just like the, people have for ages, especially like indigenous people, when they wanted to have an important conversation. And this is the center of our circle. So if we think of our circle as a wheel, this is the center, and each of us is a spoke of the hub. And we put things in the circle, we talk within the circle, and you'll get a chance to do that tonight. Also, there's a candle, which I will light as we begin, and there are some pens there because you're going to be doing some writing later, and if you don't have a pen, you could grab one of those. Okay, each week I will begin by lighting the candle, unless somebody else would like to do it. That would be nice. And then I will read a poem. I'm also going to put an intention in the circle, an intention for our time together. And in fact, I'm going to ask somebody else if they'll do that for me. It says to explore saging, which is Rabbi Zalman's word that he uses for his brand of conscious aging, as a time for reflection and spiritual growth. So I'm going to put that in the circle. And also, because we're meeting in a circle, we're going to make some agreements about how we're going to interact together. Has anybody been in a circle where you've done that before?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's really quite powerful, I think. And I have 4 intentions here. These were created by Saging International. And after we go over these, we can either change them or add to them if you would like. So could I have 4 people that would read each of these at one intention at a time? I've already been doing a lot of talking. Great. And can I give you 2?
Should I keep passing them down?
Yeah.
So one says 1 and the other says 2. And then this is 3 to anybody?
And 1.
3 and 4.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which one did you get?
I got 1.
Oh, okay, great. So, would you read the first one, please,
Yes.
Tom?
We honor and respect the confidentiality of what is spoken here concerning personal histories or current issues. We understand that our discussions are for personal growth, not therapy sessions. We agree to share only what we feel comfortable sharing.
Does anyone have any questions about that one? Okay, number 2.
We listen without judgment and will support one another in a caring manner. We will actively participate in this program while honoring others' contributions and pace.
And by active participate, that doesn't necessarily mean you say a lot. You'll be listening a lot of the time too. Number 3.
We understand that each of us is responsible for our participation. We may choose or not choose to engage in an activity. It is important to take care of oneself.
And number 4.
We agree to be in a dialogue with other participants. We are not here to agree or disagree, but rather to learn from one another. We will listen and respond to the best of our ability.
Does anyone have any questions or anything you'd like to change or add, or would you like to hear one of those again? Okay, then I would like to just say, have you say, I agree, if you agree with these agreements.
I agree.
Okay, great. So, would you put these in the circle? It's the intention and the agreements.
Do you want-
Just put them right up there and lean them against that table. Yes, thank you. And those will be up there each week. If you want to look at them. then if there's nothing else, we will begin. Oh, here comes somebody. And we have one more chair, how about that? Okay, so I'm gonna put the candle. And I'm lighting this candle as a symbol of the wisdom in each of us and the wisdom in all of us. Hi. And their name tags there on the piano.
Sorry.
There. Oh, that must be, that must be Barbara. Are you Barbara Taylor?
I am.
Welcome.
I'm the only one who wasn't on time.
There's one other person that's missing, but I don't know if she's coming later. Okay, each week after I light the candle, I'll read a poem that goes along with the intention of a particular day, and I'll wait until Barbara gets up to do that. There's one more chair up here. Okay, the poem that I'm going to read this week is called For a New Beginning by John O'Donohue. In out-of-the-way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight, when your courage kindled, and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you. Okay, and now, before we start our first exercise, I'd like to introduce Pat and have her introduce herself to you.
Oh, I'm Felina, and...
Oh, I'm sorry, you're not Pat Allen?
No. Oh, that's okay.
Your name is
Felina.
And then I need to get your email and your phone number before you leave.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm a student at the University of Minnesota, and I'm studying anthropology. So for my senior project, I'm going to be working with Ollie and sitting in on some classes, just hanging out with you guys and taking notes.
What's the end product of your project?
Well, a paper. I don't have a choice on that, unfortunately. But it's my project's just on lifelong learning and adult education.
No.
So Pat Allen isn't here. She's absent. Does anyone have anything to say before we get started with our first exercise? Okay, I'm going to pass around some index cards. And on this index card, and there are pens in the center if you need a pen. On one side of the index card, I'd like you to write down what excites you about growing older, about aging. And on the other side, I'd like you to write down what concerns you. And write as many things as you'd like, and then I'm going to stop you after you've done this for a bit. And we're gonna go around and introduce ourselves, and each person will say, my name is, I have blank number of years of experience. And we say years of experience, because we're gonna be talking from our experience here. And then say,
That's yours.
one thing that concerns me about aging is, one thing from your card, and one thing that excites me about aging is, and that's how we'll introduce ourselves to each other.
Did you say what goes on the second side?
On one side, what excites you about aging, on the other side, what concerns you about aging. And then you're gonna share one of each of those as we introduce ourselves.